All right. I had a I had a really fun night last night, just playing around with movement and dance, and I wanted to talk about just one of my insights. So I was out here in this there's this park, and there was a full moon, and I came out to this field and I danced. I danced under the full moon, and I got to tell you, it was absolutely fantastic. I felt just secure enough in the darkness to be able to let myself dance, and I was just right out there in the middle of that field. Uh, but the moon had this fantastic halo around it, and there was a planet near it. I don't know what planet, Saturn or Jupiter, I think, but it made for this amazing visual where I was looking up in the sky, up in that direction, and and it was just an epic view of this full moon, this massive halo, and a planet near the moon. And I got to dance. Anyway, so the thing about ecstatic dance is that you're kind of trying to step away from the driver's seat and just let movement come out. And this is something that is it's been really key for me because I was somebody who was just hyper in control of my movement, of my body, always trying to regulate everything. And I grew up kind of thinking about health and bodies and things like that. And I kind of turned into this adult that was very interested in like how are humans supposed to move, and trying to control it, and trying to think it in my mind and then make it be like I think it should be. And ecstatic dance is all about if you stop trying to control your body, what does it do then? Because there's just some really wild stuff that comes out when you take your hands off of the wheel. So funny. I'll think the phrase, Jesus, take the wheel. And turns out Jesus is kind of a wild guy and he likes dancing in the moonlight. So it's in exploring that idea. So after I danced in the moonlight, I was just walking around the neighborhood and feeling what my body was doing in the walk. So I basically, instead of ecstatic dance, it was sort of ecstatic walk, where I just kind of let my body do the walking. And instead, what I did was kind of what I was doing with my awareness was I was engaging sort of emotionally with my environment. This environment, right? So just a sleepy little neighborhood. But what I found was that if I let go of control of how I was moving and just put it on autopilot basically, and then I engaged emotionally with the environment in different ways, then I would feel my movement change. And so just to give you some examples of how I was changing my I guess my attention and my state of being. I would take these different frames of mind towards my environment. Like sometimes I would kind of sneak, like I was, maybe I was, I don't know, just trying to go under the radar, and that totally changed how it moved. All of a sudden, my body changed, Like my body knew exactly what to do if the context was, oh, be real sneaky. And all of a sudden, my whole body complied with that without me trying to think of, yeah, what's the best way to sneak? And then I would try, okay, then a different one, I might try, like, oh, I'm going to try and be hyper aware of everything around me. Just try and take it all in at the same time. Yeah, this is all, in a way, this is sort of like a walking meditation. Can I turn off the thoughts? Or not turn them off, but, can I put my attention on the sensory information coming in? And that produced a different result. Or could I walk around with a sense of awe at the environment? Like just the beauty and grandeur of the environment. And in this case, it was dark, but with a full moon. And so I could, I had a beautiful, I don't know, I would say like silhouettes of all the trees around me. And I could take in this nighttime landscape and hold a sense of awe and just see what that did to my posture and my overall movement when I was in awe of my environment. Anyway, I would cycle through these just different ways of placing my attention. One of them was just like hyper focus on points. And it would be like little points of light or something, and I'd pick out a little point of light and I would focus on it. Put as much of my attention on that, almost like I'd heard a sound or something and I wanted to laser in on it. And that changes, I felt those changes in my whole body. Because one of the things that I've been fascinated by is that animals, I would say, move perfectly. They have this amazing ability to navigate their environment in just the right way. I think about this when I see birds flying. You see birds fly through bushes and trees and everything and land on a little branch in just the right way, and then turn and then balance and then hop and free fall for a couple of feet and land on another branch, and it's all incredibly precise movement. And they are not flying around having conscious thoughts, and they're not distracted thinking about what happened last week, and they're not trying to plan their career, and so they're not consciously trying to do those movements. The movements just happen. And so, okay, another example, just to kind of hammer it in here, would be like some sort of mountain goat. I see videos of them climbing these like sheer cliffs, like just absolutely mind-boggling in their ability to be rock climbers, even in the context of a predator chasing them. Like, imagine the movement needs, how precise the movement needs to be. And they're not doing it consciously. We're talking about a goat here. So being able to move to the contextual needs. I just tripped. Sorry. It doesn't require a little like guy in your head driving. You know how we kind of all conceive that we are this little driver, and he's behind your eyeballs looking out, and he's pulling strings to make your legs move and shit. Like, that's kind of how we feel like our consciousness works. But with an animal, you see, it's like, oh, the movement just happens. It's like this natural thing that just comes out of somewhere, but it's not coming from this kind of human-like driver's seat kind of situation that I think we kind of operate in. So anyway, I was playing around with all these different ways of letting go of the wheel and seeing what happens. And so I was, walking around and well, first of all, I found that, my body responded immediately to whatever I was, kind of whatever my mission was, whether it was, sneaking around or kind of being in awe or whatever. And I could kind of I could watch in real time what my body did. I also found that last night my pace was really fast. Like when I just let my legs go, I'm gonna go in the driver's seat and fake it here, but it was sort of like this. I was just like, I had this, it's just, I don't know, that's was the speed that I was going in for a lot of the walk. It was really funny to me how even just how my hips were moving and how my body had this swagger. I was really I was amazed at the amount of personality that was coming out in my walk. But it makes sense because for so long I've been such a control freak about my body and trying to control it, keep it under my control. And so that meant that historically my movement has been very limited and tight and constipated. And so really letting the movement go in that walk, helped by my dance, because the dance loosened me all up, it freed me up. And then I could go around and play with this walk and found that, the walk was so dynamic and adaptive and cool. I liked it. And I liked I could see myself, as I observed it happening. I could see all these different kind of characters come out. And I recognized them as like, oh, that's what a guy looks like when he's walking with this purpose and he's not worried about what people think about him. I could see it. I was like, oh, I've seen that walk before. Mostly in like movies, I feel like. I see this, I recognize it in movies. Anyway, it was so fun, and letting myself go has been just a really big theme in my life lately, just exploring it. And last night was a huge leap in that regard of seeing just how me messing consciously with the controls, I think that's been messing me up a lot. And so this has been a really wild thing of seeing like, and opened up especially by ecstatic dance and how, morning, and how that practice of dancing around other people and doing your best to let go, that has freed up so much in me. And I value that freedom. I really value it. So I'm going to keep doing more, and I'm going to do more to find ways to practice that just in daily life. Like, how can I let go of control? Still have an intention, still have sort of a mission in the moment, but then let my body do whatever it does. Like, this is the context. Forget about trying to move my body in some way. Just let it do its job. And I think I'm going to find that the tasks happen just easier and probably faster too. Like, I think my body's just gonna be like, okay, let's go. If I'm not messing with the controls constantly, I think the actions will just flow. And that's my theory. So I'm gonna keep working on it. And I want to record. I'll record a video just all about walking And maybe I'll walk back and forth. Hey, buddy. I'll walk back and forth in the same spot and just kind of record all the stuff that I was just talking about. How my frame of mind changes my movement, and we'll see it'll happen. All right, I need to rearrange with this baby, so I need my other hand. So that's it. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.